Yeah, very good morning, guys. Fine. Last day we just been talked about how to write querying by using LinkU. I just explained you first how to use where clause. I explained you using order by clause, and there we stopped with the group by clause. How to use a group by clause. So just we are trying to return some queries here. Yeah, we try to write some queries here, and see these are all group by clause only. Okay, so basically group by, what is the use of group by? Group by clause is actually used for doing some analysis here. We just use group by clause for doing some analysis. Tell me, we have 4 clauses in SQL now. What are these are the 4 clauses? The first clause is the where clause. Okay, why do we use where clause? Used for applying filters. Filtering. Where clause is to apply the filters. Second, group by clause. Group by clause is used for data analysis. What are the data analysis? Yes, yeah, that's what we done in the last class. We're trying to find out the number of customers in each city. Analysis, that is, we are trying to find out the highest balance of customers in each city, the least balance, what is the average balance. All this is a part of analysis only. Got it? Third class. What is the third class? Having class. Having is also used for applying filters only. Used for applying filters. Where clause, having clause. Both these 2 clauses are actually used for applying the filters. And the last one is order by clause. What is the use of it? Arranging the data. This is used for arranging the data based on a particular column, either in ascending or descending orders. We just use it. These are the 4 clauses what we generally come across in our applications now. Where clause, group by clause, having clause, and order by clause. Understood, all of you? These are 4 clauses what we generally come across. Where clause, group by clause, having clause, and the order by clause are the 4 clauses what we generally come across in this. Now, I explained about where clause to you, I explained about group by clause, I explained about order by clause. But what about having clause? What did I say? Link doesn't have having clause is what I said. I already said you, link doesn't have the having clause. But tomorrow, I need to use a having clause in my code. I need to use a having clause in my code. Okay. Actually, link doesn't have a having clause means link has having clause. Link has having clause, but I'll tell you. Can you tell me when to use a where clause and when to use a having clause? In SQL classes, you might be learning about it. When should I use a where clause and when should I use a having clause? When where clause will be used and when having clause will be used. Both are for applying filters only. Did not get you. Louder here. When should I use having clause? When should I use where clause? Having clause? Well, in where clause you cannot use multiple columns. Where clause is used for applying row filters. Having clause is used for applying group filters. If you want to filter based on a row, you use where clause. If you want to do filtering on a group, you should use having clause. That is the reference. Understood? Used for applying filters on rows. It's not on rows. It is applied to filters on groups. So simply speaking, you can never use a having clause without group by. Because the groups who do grouping. Group by clause will do the grouping. So having clause can be used only in combination with a group by. Having clause can never be used individually. Group by is there, then only having can be used. Without a group by, having cannot be used. Okay, and one more thing. Where filters the data before group by, Having filters the data after group by. That's what. When do you want to filter? Before grouping or after grouping? If it is before grouping, where class. If it is after grouping, having class. That is the difference. So where is used for filtering the data before group by, and having is used for filtering the data after the group by. That makes the difference between the two things. Equal comparisons and all that nonsense. Okay, so did you understand when to use where and group having now? See, watch it. So look at this query once. What is this query? Oh, sorry. Just a minute, guys. Guys, am I audible? Online students, am I audible? Yeah, Yogesh, it is your problem. You need to rectify or check out your device. Nothing problem from my side. Yeah, look at this. What is this query getting you? Number of customers in each city, right? I want the number of customers in each city only when the count is greater than 2. I want the number of customers in each city only when the count is greater than 2. Now you require to apply a filter now. Yes or not? Why is it count greater than 2 now? But you cannot use a where clause. Why you cannot use a where clause? Because where clause executes before group I. Where clause executes what? Before group I. Now you want to do a filter before grouping or after grouping? Because before grouping you don't know number of customers in each city. When do you know how many customers are present in each city? After grouping. After grouping you need to apply a filter now. You can't use the where clause. Did you catch my point or not? Yeah. What is that? After grouping, you cannot apply a where clause now. Why? When I said you in the last session, when you asked about the clauses, you need to follow the sequence I said you. What is the sequence? Where clause, group by clause, having clause, order by. Can I change the sequence? No. The reason you know, first where clause executes, sends the results to group by. Group by executes, sends the result to having. Having executes, sends the results to order by. You cannot change the sequence. Now, you got this result after group by, correct? After group by, can I use a where clause? No. Why? Array, after where clause executed, group by clause came now. Did you catch my point? And now it is a row filter, group filter. It is not a row filter now, it is a group filter. It is a group filter what you have to apply, and that is after grouping. This is a place where having clause has to be used, not the where clause. Did you catch my point? What clause should I use? Having clause. But unfortunately, what did I say? Array, link doesn't provide you having clause is what I said here. Link did not give having clause here. What link has done, you know? Link has given you where clause only. Link has given only where clause. And simply what they said is, where and having both are for filtering only now. That is very clear. So simply what they said is, if you try to use the where clause before group by, it will work like your where clause only. If you try to use the where clause after group by, that will work like having clause to you. So we have having clause here. But how do you use having, you know? We use having also by using where only. Did you catch my point or not? We use having also by using where only. Where only is used for having also. So we don't have a having clause separately. For example, remember last class, how did we write the query to fetch this output? What output? Number of customers in each city. How did you write the query? Where call is equals to from C in customers. Okay, group C by C dot city into G. This is how we use the group by clause, right? Next, select new of city is equals to G dot key and customers is equals to G dot count. Array, in the same way, in the place of count, I shown you max, min, average. All the options I shown you in the last session. So what will this query get you? Number of customers in each city. What will get you? Number of customers in each city. I'm going to get the number of customers in each city. Already, I have written the query here. You can see that is the same thing only what I shown you right now again. Both are same only here. Already we written this query in the last class. Okay, now? So now, in this I'm getting, but I want to get only when the count is greater than 2. In SQL, how do you write? After group by clause is completed, in SQL will say, having count of star greater than 2. But in link what we say, where g dot count greater than 2. So what I used here? Where. But in SQL, guys, if you try to use a where after group by, you will get error. In SQL, if you try to use a where after group by, you get an error. That's why I said you sequence is very, very important. The first clause should be where clause. After where clause completed only, you can apply group by clause. After group by completed only, we can use having clause. After having completed only, we can use order by. Understood? That sequence cannot be altered at all. Try if you want. Go and try your queries. If you change this 4 query sequence, you get a error. Understood? 4 clause sequence, you get error. But here, we are using a where clause after group by. Yes, yeah, you are using a where clause after group by, but this is not a where clause, this is having clause only. Understood? In link without giving you 2 clauses, what it has given you? Only 1 clause. And said, if you write this where before a group by, I will work like where clause. If you write the where after group by, I will work like having clause. Am I clear? So link also provides you all clauses to you. But the only difference is for where and having, there is only where. Before group by is where, after group by is having. Now you see, you get the results what you're expecting. So earlier what you got? The number of customers in each city, right? Now what you're getting is the number of customers in each city only when the count is greater than. Run and see. Now you will get only the number of customers in each city only when the count is greater than 2. See, you got 2 only, see? Why? Remaining all are having two customers only. But these 2 are having more than 2. Okay, now? Same like that. Watch this. What will this query give you? Max balance in each city, right? I want this output only when it is greater than 25,000. And I want this, okay, not 25,000, 250,000. No, 25,000. It is only when it is greater than 25,000. The max balance is greater than 25,000 only you want it. Okay, I'll show you the old query. Can you tell me how to write the new query now? Array, no need to write all. Just add where there. That's all. I'm showing the clause query to you. Just add where there. Enough. This is a query. I want to when it is greater than 25,000. Where should I write? Come on, fast here. I given a query as an example on the top. Below that, I asked you and putting blank faces. Shame on your part here. After G, where should I write? I asked you. Where? Louder. What should I write? Where? G dot max. Z dot max. C lambda expression. C dot balance greater than 25,000. Greater than 25,000. Put a semicolon. Yeah, you'll get it only when it is greater than 25,000, you can watch. Greater than 25,000. Is that clear? Third one. What is the third query? I want it only when it is less than 10,000. I'm getting the minimum balance now. I want to get the customers with the minimum balance which is less than 10,000 only. Okay. Come on, guys, faster. Don't make me to scold you. I'm just putting it here. Faster. What should I write? Where should I write? After? Come on, fast. Where? G dot min C lambda expression C dot balance less than 10,000. Less than 10,000. Less than 10,000. Is that clear? Tim, you can just try with the remaining also. Average, sum also, there also we can use. So I shown you writing all classes to you guys. Order by class, where class, group by class, having class. So here, first I explained you order by class. And this one, where class. Group by class. This one, having class. Just remember, this is also having class, but nothing but here we write what? Where only. Don't forget. Having class may don't again confuse where is having. That is where only. Point clear? This one. Fetching all rows and all columns unconditionally. This query fetches all rows and all columns unconditionally. Okay, this one, fetching selected columns. Fetching what? Selected columns. You are fetching selected columns. That's all. Not all columns. What columns you are fetching? Only 3 columns. And also giving alias names to columns. We also learned how to give alias names to the column now. This is how we give an alias name to the column. Is that clear? So these are all the clauses and the queries what I just explained to you over here right now. Okay now? So completely if you see the code, what did I show you? First, I defined a class. What is the class name? Customer. Then I defined you another class, class 10, created instances, stored all of them in a list, and I started writing queries. I started writing queries on the list now. Okay, fetching all rows and columns unconditionally. From the list unconditionally. Okay, fetching selected rows and also giving alias names to columns. Yeah, remaining all same problem. So, are you clear? Basically, guys, right now we have seen how to write on arrays and collections. Right now we have seen how to write queries on arrays and collections. But going forward, all of you remember, we are going to learn how to write these particular queries, how to write these particular queries going forward on database tables. Array, now you're taking a list. The list also, I use it like a table only, a table with 5 columns and 15 rows. Think like that only. Tomorrow the data will come from a database. We'll just use the same querying also there. But there we said, right, table name. Here we written a collection name. In the future, the collection name or the array name will be replaced with table name. Understood? That's what we are going to learn in the future right now. And we'll learn about that particular concept in our MVC classes. In the MVC, database programming by using link, I'll teach you. And all of you, I given you this, I said you this also. What's it? I said you ADV.NET with Windows programming, correct? Yes or not? Link also can be used with Windows programming. Link also can be used with Windows programming to database communication. I posted all the videos to you. Are you clear? So not this week, not this week. This week you are already focusing on multi-threading, just to focus on that. So anyhow, this weekend we'll finish up our class. Anyhow, this weekend we are going to finish up our batch here. So next week you focus on first practice all ADV.NET sample code. All ADV.NET applications, practice them. The same thing, how you can write by using link. I explained to you. I explained about that to you in your videos. You can just watch. Database programming using link. What I explained you, link to arrays and collection, link to objects, link to databases. I posted up the videos. You can just watch. I'll show them, but in MVC classes, I'll show you. But meanwhile, all of you get acquainted with it. Is that clear? You know GUI designing also, and you know database programming also. But without writing ADV.NET coding, I have written complete link code, how to use link code. Practice them. The next week, that's your target. Yeah. Hold on a second, please. Okay. Okay. So just what did I do is first step I creating instances of customer class using object initializers. Remember object initializers? You can use the curly braces and you can initialize your no parameterized constructor. You can use the curly braces and initialize the things. Okay. So I've just gone for using object initializers and we have initialized it. This is the first thing you have done. Second, what is the second step? Creating a list of customers and adding and created a list of customers and added all the customer instances into the list. Yeah, you created the instances and added all of them into the list now. Is that clear? Is the second step. Is the first thing you have done. Yeah. Finally, implementing link queries for fetching the data from the list using link to objects. Yeah, guys, that's what exactly we are just doing. And these are all the queries what I given you in explanation. Okay, now? Yeah, the next topic. It's all about this one, guys. The next thing what we're going to learn in our discussion is about assemblies. What's an assembly? We learned about assemblies already. What's an assembly, guys? It's a compiled block of code, one after which is generated for completion of a project. Whenever you compile a project, every project will be generating you in assembly. And here I'm not here to explain you about the assemblies, and already you guys know about these assemblies in your C# classes. Already you learned about the assemblies. One day we discussed about projects and solutions. And on that day, I've explained you all about assemblies to you. Okay. Every project after compilation will generate you. When will you start MVC? Are you sleeping, Shrikant? MVC already started a week back at morning 7:15. I already announced in the classroom and everyone is attending, and suddenly you're asking when will you start MVC? We already started. Morning 7:15, last Monday only it started. And all the people are already attending for that also. So today, let's talk some few important things about this MVC. Today, let us talk about some few important things about this particular MVC. So about this MVC a little bit more, let's understand about them. So what is it we are going to learn? All these things we learned already. First point, read that. Read them, guys. We completed discussion on all those things. You can go through them. And remember from .NET 5, you have in a different location. You'll be having net version. Our current version is 6.0. So it is net 6.0. Okay, continuation. I said you read the notes, not chit chat with each other. Read that. We already completed this discussion. Is that clear? We've been on about DLLs. Yeah. Okay. So we've been talked about all these things in our earlier classes, EXE assemblies, DLL assemblies. And also I said you, DLL assemblies are basically, you cannot run on the Windows, but basically you are designed with the DLL assemblies to run on Linux and Mac systems with the help of .NET Run. I shown you how to run a DLL assembly also. Just to refer to your projects and solutions notes, all these things are explained to you. EXE's, DLL's combination. And also, I remember I shown you this picture to all of you. Every application is a blend of EXE and DLL assemblies. The center point is going to be EXE surrounded by all the DLLs. Okay, up to here, we have just been learned it in the earlier classes. Up to here, we have learned it in the earlier classes. So what are we going to learn today is something new, what we have just not been learned in our earlier classes. Okay, so what we are going to learn now is assemblies are two types. Assemblies are two types. What are the two types? We call them as private assemblies and shared assemblies. What are the two? Private assemblies and the shared assemblies. So what are these private assemblies and what are these shared assemblies? So let's try to understand, guys, what are these private assemblies and what are the shared assemblies? So actually assemblies are two types. The first category is private and the second category is a shared assembly. So let me explain you in detail today what's a private assembly and what is a shared assembly. Okay, so listen. By default, every assembly is a private assembly. By default, every assembly is a private assembly. What exactly is the meaning of it is, all of us has learned how to consume an assembly by adding a reference to the assembly, right? We can add a reference to an assembly and we can start consuming the assembly in our applications now. Okay. So what exactly happens when I add a reference to an assembly? So listen, what exactly happens when I add a reference to an assembly? I'm adding a reference to an assembly. What exactly is going to happen when the reference is added to an assembly? So listen, whenever you add a reference to an assembly, immediately a copy of that assembly is taken and given to the project who is adding a reference. We have a copy of the assembly, a reference is added. So what will happen? A copy of that assembly will be given to the project who added the reference. Suppose if 10 projects are added a reference, 10 copies are created and given to all the people. Did you get my point or not? If 10 projects are adding reference, 10 copies are created now. How many projects are adding a reference? That means a number of copies are going to be created and given to the projects now. And that's what we call as a private assembly. So by default, every assembly is a private assembly. In the sense, look at this picture. You'll understand it much better here. Just a minute. Yeah. Watch this picture, guys. You'll understand what exactly is a private assembly. This is an assembly. Oh, sorry. This is an assembly. Maybe a DLL, maybe an EXL. Assembly, that's all. Now these are two projects who want to consume the assembly. What are they doing? Adding a reference. When you add a reference, immediately a copy of that assembly is given to this project and a copy of the assembly is given to this project. How many projects are adding a reference? That many copies will be maintained. Did you get my point? Every copy is a private to that project. Every copy is a private to the project. See, mainly your offline students, some of you people are carrying a notes. Some of your people are carrying the notes of it. So when you go to the Xerox center there, what is he doing? I have given the original copy for him. So what is he doing? He's taking a copy of it and giving to all the people now. How many people come to him? That many number of copies he will create and he will give to the people now. Understood my point here? So everyone will have their own copy. The notes what you're carrying is your own private copy now. Got it? Or I just put it on the Google Classroom and everyone started downloading. Everyone have a copy on your system now. All are physical. Correct? So this also the same thing only. So when you add a reference, copies will be created and given to the projects who are adding the reference, and that's what we call as private assembly. And don't forget, by default, every assembly is a private assembly. Okay, I prove it practically. Watch it carefully. Watch it. I'm going to create 3 projects now. All the 3. Array 3 what is only, I'm going to create all the 3 now. Okay. Create a new project. Now, the assembly what is shown on the top, you want to consume data, you want to run data. When you're consuming, always prefer TLLs. When you're consuming, always prefer TLLs than the EXEs. That's my suggestion. Okay. So come on, let us create a class library, guys. DLL, class library is a DLL, remember? We are going to create a class library. So here select library. Yeah, you can see class library. A project for reading a class library that targets .NET or .NET Standard. Okay, this is a class library, what I'm just using. Okay, so click on the next button. Let's name this as P assembly. Just to understand the private assembly, I named it as P assembly. Save in our own folder, C# 9. Click on the next button. Runtime is 6, create. Yeah, you got a public class. Yeah. Now in this class, I'm writing one public method. Public string say hello. Return hello from private assembly. Yeah, this is a simple thing what I just done. I created a project. What type? Class library. And I just gone for creating your, with a class in it, with a method in it. So public class, public method. So anyone can create the instance of the class and call the method now. Build a project. Right click and just zip it. Assembly generated. Open a new project or create a new project. Create a new project of type class library. Just use the class library type. Name it as P assembly. Okay, now, which will by default come with a class 1 under the file class1.cs. Now write the following code under the class. Just what you'll do is only write a method in the class here, nothing more. Just only define a method inside of that class now. Okay. Now compile the project. How do you compile? Open the Solution Explorer. Compile the project by opening the Solution Explorer. Right click on the project and select what? Build. Which will compile and generate an assembly with the name tassembly.dll. And all of you remember the path. The path is important. And where you can find the path? In the output window, you can find the path of the assembly. I already shown you this to you earlier. This is the path. This is your folder, solution, project, thing, debug, net 6.0, tassembly.dll. That is a path of the assembly. That's some mention here, but I just given a note for all of you to notice it. What is it? To find path of the assembly. Correct. We can find path of the assembly in output window. In output window that is present at bottom of the studio. Okay. You'll be finding this in the output window, guys. That is present in bottom of the studio. Bottom of the Visual Studio. So go there and you'll find out. If you don't find output window, what to do? Go to view menu. In the view menu, you can select output window. Every window will come from view menu only. From the view menu, you can select the output window and see. Are you clear till now? Yes or not? Okay. Now, consuming the assembly. Consuming the assembly we have created. Consuming the assembly we have created. Okay. So let us see consuming this. I'm closing this project here. Nothing to do with this, but compilation is completed. DLL is ready now. I'm closing off. What next? Watch. Let me create a new project. Let me create a new project. I want to consume it now. I want to consume the assembly here. And I'm using a console application project. I'm using a console application project. I will name it as test p assembly 1. Test p assembly 1 is the name. Click on the next button. Click on the create button. Created. So this is one project. Now what you will do? Add a reference of that assembly. Oh, we have selected the checkbox there. We forgot. Use top level elements. If I select this, it will generate a class already shown you. Okay, I forgot to do that. Okay, leave it. I'll write it. Namespace. Test p assembly 1. Next. Class or internal class. What's it? Program. Static void main. Yeah. So just is a class. You have a main method now. Now in the main method, I wanted to call the say hello method what is defined in class 1. Class 1 we define a method called say hello. I want to call that method. If you want to call, you can call, but both are not in the same project. They are different projects. So first step is you require to add a reference. First step is you require to add a reference. Clear? Come on, let's do it. Right click, add. What guys? Project reference. Go to browse. Go to browse. Select the assembly for the physical location. Where is it? A drive. C# 9. What is process assembly name? P assembly. P assembly in debug net 6.4. P assembly 1.dll. Already using the path on the top. Add. Reference added. Once the reference adding is completed, let's do one thing. What's it? Create the instance of that class and call the method. What a class name? Class 1. Namespace name? P assembly. So P assembly dot class 1 obj is equals to new P assembly dot class 1 console dot write line obj dot say hello. Obj dot say hello console dot read line. Got the output. You got the output. You have just defined a method in a separate project, consumed it here. Same way, guys, you can consume it from any number of projects you want. So shall I create one more project? Now the second project, what I'm going to create is a Windows project now, not a console. Array, you can console from Windows, you can consume from console, Windows, web, anywhere you can consume. Choice is yours. Okay, create a new project. Create a Windows project, guys. Guys, when you're selecting a Windows project, better select core. Better select core, I'm telling. Core project, not framework. Why? Our assembly is developed in code, that's way. Anyhow, one line, that's all, not much code. So better we'll just go with a desktop. Windows Forms app. .NET Core. Don't choose .NET Framework. Next. Shall I call it as a test P assembly 2? Test P assembly 1, test P assembly 2. Same location. Click next. Click create. It is loading meanwhile. Let's add a reference. Right click, add project reference. Browse. Just now, 2 minutes back, you added the reference now. So we got it here only, no issues. Select, click OK. Okay. Now what you'll do is add a button on the screen. Add a button on the screen. Okay. Setting some caption for this call. What is that? Sailor. Call Sailor. Come on, let's call it. P-assembly dot class 1 obj is equals to new p-assembly dot class 1. There we said console dot write line. Here we'll say message box dot show obj dot call the method Sailor. Run the code, click on the button, you see the output. I did not show anything new, guys. I created one assembly. In that one class, one method, I tried consuming it from two separate projects now. One is a console project, one is a Windows project. So in both the two places, I'm able to call the method. Click on that, you got the output. Hello from Sailor. Sorry, hello from private assembly. So what I'm trying to show you now, now the assembly what we created is a private assembly, correct? Yes or not? When you add a reference, immediately a copy of that assembly is created and given to both projects. A copy of that assembly is created and given to both the projects. Observe it. Observe it carefully, all of you. E drive, C# 9. Just now you created 3 projects totally, right? I think these are the 3 projects what you created. P-assembly, test P-assembly 1, test P-assembly 2. When you compile the P-assembly, generated one .dll assembly, right? Go and see. Now this assembly reference was added to test P-assembly 1 and test P-assembly 2, correct? So both of these projects, if you go to their debug, the netcode folder, the net folder, you'll find a copy of P-assembly in both the 2 projects. Because once the reference is added, a copy is created and given to both projects. Check it out. Test P-assembly 1, test P-assembly 1, pin, debug, netcode 6.0. And can you see that P-assembly.dll coming here? Yes or not? Okay, same like that. You can go to test P-assembly 2 also. Don't bother with these PDB files. PDB files are for debugging the code. These files are not copied when we just build a setup for the application. When I make a setup, PDB files won't come. Only DLLs, EXEs will come. Configs. You know configs? DLL, EXE and the config. We have a config now. Here config won't be there, but Windows has config. What is that? app.config file. That file, all those things will be copied. The PDB files, other files won't be picked up. So the thing is, how the assembly is going to be generated. How it is going to generate you the appropriate assembly. So am I clear, all of you? Yes or not? Okay. So now you understood what is a private assembly? This is the assembly. Reference added in 2 projects. 2 copies are created. So just a minute. Yeah. Consuming the assembly we have created in multiple projects. We can consume an assembly under any number of projects. But if the assembly is private, it will create multiple copies of the assembly. That is, in how many projects the reference is added, that many number of copies are also created for the assembly. Okay, see, we can consume an assembly under any number of projects, okay, comma. But if the assembly is private, it will create multiple copies of the assembly. So don't forget, if the assembly is private, it will create multiple copies of the assembly. That is, in how many projects the reference is added, that many number of copies are also created for the assembly. Okay, now? To test this, create 2 new projects, one of type console application, naming it as test P assembly 1, and second of type, what here? Windows app. Right, second one is of type Windows app, naming it as two new projects. One of type console app, naming it as a test P assembly 1. And second of type Windows app, naming it as test P assembly 2. What next? Now add the reference of tassembly.dll we have created above to both the projects. Array, for both projects, do this here. Clearer or not from its physical location, and write the below code. Guys, if it is console application project, console app project, if you're working on a console app project, okay, in case of console app project, write the below code under main method of default class. What is the default class? That is program.cs. Program.cs. What will you write? This is the code you are writing. Okay, next. In case of Windows application project, place a button on The default form. What is the default form? That is form 1 and write the below code under its click event. Okay, go to the click event and write the code here. Okay, now, if you're working on Windows app project, what you'll do? Just press a button on the default form, that is form 1, comma, set the text of the button as call, say hello, and write the below code under its click event handler or click event procedure. You have a click event procedure now, write this code. What do you write? Am I clear, all of you? How to test both the two things now? So what you'll do? First create two projects. To new projects. First one is of type console application. Name TestP assembly 1. Second one of type Windows application. Name TestP assembly 2. Okay. What you'll do next? Add the reference of tassembly.dll we have created above to both the projects from its physical location. And write the below code. What is the physical location? Something, whatever it is, you can see in the output window what is the physical location and write the code. If it is program, this is the code. If it is if it is Windows form, this is the code. And again, nothing there you said console.writeline and here you said message box.show. That's all, nothing more. Clear? Now see, run both the projects to test them and then go and verify under pin debug net 6.0. Your version is 6.0. Folder of both the new projects. And we find a copy of tassembly.dll because tassembly.dll is a private assembly. Which class? Excuse me. What time? 10:15. Not started yet. It's not started yet. This is a 9 o'clock batch. This is. Wait. Okay. Semi clearance. So both the two things tested. Once you call it, you will see the output. You will see the output in both the two cases. But the only thing is, you'll find a copy of that assembly created in both the two locations because your assembly is a private assembly. And one thing I just want to tell you, what is the advantage with a private assembly? What is the advantage with a private assembly? Advantage with a private assembly is faster access. Advantage with a private assembly is faster access here. Access is faster. Why? Because you just think yourself here, you can consume. Everyone has its own copy. Faster access. Drawback? Multiple copies. Multiple copies are created of. Tomorrow, if the original copy is modified, that may not be affecting the other copies of you. Did you catch my point or not? When the original copy is modified, that will not affect all the child copies, all the sub copies which are created. So tomorrow, if I upload the notes in the Google Drive, will it affect you until you download again? Come on. No, that won't, because your copy is separate private copy. I uploaded my new notes on the Google, but that changes won't come to you until and unless I make all my modifications. Until and unless I make my modification, the changes won't be seen by you. I hope you guys understand my point. So this is the drawback what you'll be facing with the private assemblies. Advantage is faster access. Disadvantage, multiple copies are created. Okay now, and to resolve this problem, they have just introduced as a concept called as shared assemblies. They introduced as a concept called as shared assemblies. What are these shared assemblies? Shared assemblies means, guys, what is a shared assembly, you know? Shared assembly means multiple copies of the assembly won't be created. multiple copies won't be created. What is it, you know? First, you will be having a one copy on a centralized location. First, you will be having a one single copy on a centralized location. One copy will be there. And the same copy will be served with all the clients. Means everyone will be going through that only. Means what do you mean now? I've created a website. I created a website. In the website, the notes is present. All of you can open the site and read the notes. All of you can open the site and read the notes. All of you can do. But you cannot download a copy. You cannot download a copy. Tomorrow, if I update the notes, all of you can see the new changes now. Yes or not? That is placed on one central location. And after placing that on a central location, we start providing access to that to the various clients. And that's what we call as a shared assembly. That is what we are calling as a shared assembly. So by default, all assemblies are private. By default, all assemblies are private. But if at all you want your assembly to be a shared assembly, if at all you want your assembly to be a shared assembly, it's a different story. How you can make an assembly as a shared assembly. But the second option what we have is shared assemblies. We can just consume that, means we'll be placing that first in one location and then we give access to the clients. I'll show you a picture. Watch it. Look at this, guys. This is a shared assembly. We are going to place this in one central location and we call that as a global assembly cache, GAC. What is the GAC? I'll tell you afterwards. The assembly is put there. Any number of projects can consume. See, you're adding a reference, but copies are not maintained. Array, but do you notice the first picture? Every project has a copy, but now no copies. How many copies? Only one. And that everyone is going to consume the same copy of it. Everyone is going to consume the same copy in this case. Multiple copies won't be created for you in this context. I hope it is clear, all of you. Yes or not? So now we'll have a lot of questions here. What is the question? Sir, what is the GAC? Yeah, I'll answer all the appropriate things. What is the GAC and all? So have a look. Yeah, read this once. Assemblies are of two types. Private assembly, shared assembly. What is a private assembly? By default, every assembly is a private assembly. That is, if a reference is added to the assembly for consumption, immediately a copy of that assembly is created and given to the project to add the reference to it. Okay, to make you understand about that, I've just done all these things. What did I do? Tassembly.dll is an assembly, is an assembly we created first. We created first using class library project, right? Next. Test P assembly one is a new console app project, and for this project, we are adding the reference of tassembly.dll. So immediately a copy of the P assembly is given to test P assembly one project. Is a new Windows application project, and for this project, we are adding a reference to reference of tassembly.dll. So immediately a copy of P assembly is given to test P assembly 2 project also. That's what I shown you guys. 3 projects I created, 1 assembly, 2 projects I consumed it. 1 is class library, 1 is console application, 1 is I shown you different variety of projects also. Anyone can just consume, but multiple copies of the P assembly will be created because it's private assembly. Okay. So now what we need to understand is how to make it, because I want to consume my assembly under n number of projects. Then we need to make it as a shared assembly. So tomorrow I'll teach you how to make your assemblies as shared assemblies. Okay, let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow.
Recording stopped.